S. The movement of life in order to survive when the environment changes. Animal migration is the long-term movement in search of climate, food, and water. From one land to another and throughout human history, migration also existed. When glaciers advanced, when land became barren, when war or famine arrived, humans, just like animals, carried their homes, hopes, and fears and set off on new journeys. By 2025, social conflicts caused by cultural and religious differences had already appeared among new immigrants in the US, Canada, the UK, France, Germany, and other European countries. So how did these new immigrants arrive there? When did they come, and by what route? How did each government respond to them? And what were the deeper forces behind these decisions? Today, we will carry these questions and look for real answers through an extreme but strikingly similar example of animal migration. Let us travel back 26,000 years to the last glacial maximum. Earth's average temperature was nearly 10 degrees Celsius colder than today. North America, Northern Europe, and Siberia were buried under ice sheets several kilometers thick. Forests retreated, grasslands froze into storm-ridden tundra. Sea levels dropped more than 100 meters. And the Bering Land Bridge emerged from the icy sea, becoming a life corridor between Asia and the Americas. In this cold, silent world, migration became the arena where species were judged. In 2010, a research team from Oxford University extracted DNA from a female mammoth preserved in Siberian permafrost. Analysis showed she lived during a time of extreme food shortage. Isotope levels in her tooth enamel recorded a shift from grassland gives tundra gives starvation. The last surviving mammoths retreated to Wrangel Island in the Arctic Ocean, around 4,000 years ago, while human civilizations were lighting fires in the Mesopotamian plains. Yet these giants were still struggling for food in snow and wind. Slowly consumed by isolation and cold, genetic mutations and inbreeding finally sealed their fate. Unlike mammoths, woolly rhinoceroses and steppe bison withdrew southward. Arctic foxes, reindeer, and brown bears adapted to seasonal and geographical shifts. But cave lions, saber-toothed cats, and short-faced bears vanished one after another. Their prey disappeared, their territories froze, and entire food chains collapsed. A story still frozen in the fossil layers of Siberia and Alaska. Migration was not merely escape, it was a negotiation between life and environment. Every advance and retreat of the glaciers was a massive natural filter. The last major human migration before today. The 2015 peak of the European refugee wave. Global refugee waves do not occur randomly. They cluster around specific countries, specific events, and specific wars. Think of it as a chain reaction. The last major human migration before today. The 2015 peak of the European refugee wave. Global refugee waves do not occur randomly. They cluster around specific countries, specific events, and specific wars. Think of it as a chain reaction. So, did war trigger a human ice age? Why would governments risk cultural conflict and social instability to accept so many newcomers if you stay until the end? You'll no longer believe it was merely about human rights or moral duty. The fundamental driver behind modern states, behind every modern nation. There is a collapsing demographic curve. Low birth rates, aging populations. Shrinking labor forces, retirement systems on the brink of failure. Japan loses 700,000 people per year. Germany would see a 30% labor drop by 2040 without immigration. China entered long-term population decline in 2023. Singapore and South Korea have fertility rates below 1. Pension systems cannot sustain themselves. Tax bases begin to collapse, governments are forced to choose. Collapse or import new blood, thus immigration is not idealism. It is a fiscal and structural blood transfusion. Even with cultural conflict risks, they have no choice. Think tanks mapped out AI replacement curves as early as 2015. By 2035, 40 to 60% of basic jobs will be replaced by AI. AI customer service serving tens of thousands simultaneously, driverless forklifts in warehouses, factory floors with only a few engineers supervising machines, AI radiology systems scanning images 24/7, and even journalism, advertising, scripts, and music generated by algorithms, transport, manufacturing, clerical work, administration. Profession after profession is being quietly swallowed by algorithms. Governments and capital know one truth. The rise of AI is irreversible. They are merely buying time. A social buffer before the shockwave hits. Immigration fills the gap. AI isn't fully mature yet. But aging societies are already collapsing. They need people to care for the elderly, drive trucks, clean cities. Immigrants become a time extension, delaying societal breakdown. This is the true creator of the modern ice age, the AI era. AI takes over high-skilled jobs, immigrants take over low-skilled jobs. A new social stratification is forming, upper tier. Highly educated migrants, engineers, programmers, doctors, they are the fuel of the AI economy. 40% of Silicon Valley engineers are Indian or Chinese. Singapore and Japan loosen IT and medical talent visas to add human brains to the AI transition. Lower-tier labour migrants, construction workers, caregivers, drivers, cleaners. They keep the physical world running while machines rise. Europe relies on Middle Eastern workers for construction. Singapore relies on Bangladeshi and Filipino workers to maintain a functioning city. Without immigrants, the AI transition cannot hold. Scholars now call it the Demographic Extension Project, a population extension strategy. Countries use immigration to delay demographic collapse and buy the last remaining time before AI fully takes over, once AI dominance arrives, when machines no longer need large workforces and governments no longer need immigrant patches. The global migration waves will naturally decline. We'll explore whether lying flat is right or wrong, and how humans can learn from animals' winter hibernation to survive the coming AI era. Please subscribe and stay tuned. Thank you for watching.